Welcome to Seeing Scarlet. It's Shelby, and if you're wondering if I'm wearing a Christmas sweater, I am. And you can fight me about it, but it's comfortable. I don't care. I'm here with Tyler, and we have a 4-0 week of basketball on the men's side and the women's side. Both went 2-0. All the wins were happening this week. So much fun. I love wins in the year 2025. We get to talk about all of those on both sides. Track started up. I mean, track had like the best opening meet of their existence, according to Wes Catley. He said those, I was paraphrasing, but he said it was like the best opening meet they've ever had. There's some fun stuff happening there. We had tennis get going. They swept on the men's and the women's side. They were sweeping people. Volleyball picked up 5 new players, I think. I mean, things are happening in the sports world, and we're only a couple of weeks away from softball and baseball starting. So let's get hype. We're going to talk all about the Lady Raiders. We're going to recap it. We got some film clips as requested by y'all. Y'all liked that last week. We're going to do that. Tyler's got some great breakdowns on the previews for the Lady Raiders, men's basketball, all the things that are going to get going. But first, Tyler, big weekend ahead for both teams. But you're the marketing wizard. Tell people why they need to be there on Saturday, how they can be there, and what they can win for the Lady Raiders versus Oklahoma State, who just beat number 9 TCU, and you can be there to help us beat them. Tyler, let them know. Go.
Yes, no. So it's going to be like the biggest weekend, I think, for us as far as game wise. We are taking on Oklahoma State. They are a really, really good team. As you said, they beat number 9 TCU last night. And I think we need to show these Cowgirls what a real large women's basketball crowd is. Because, yeah, coach was talking how great their crowd was and their students were
It
great
was
and
solid.
everything. So we saw that, and we saw that, and we decided that we need to give y'all some ammo for the students this week because we're gonna outdo them. So you're gonna start off on Saturday, blackout for the Lady Raider game. Wear black. We're gonna get our first win in the black jerseys, right? Um, Parents,
Yes.
if you have little girls, there is the National Girls and Women's and Sports Day
Yes.
clinic before that. You can still register. Please do that. It's going to be great things. You're going to get to, I think, have an opportunity to try out all the sports or go to maybe one of the sports, but I know softball, volleyball, soccer, basketball, they'll all be there. And one of those registrations will get you, I think, a free ticket to the Lady Raider game. So please be there for that. Buy the tickets. And then as far as students are concerned, as we said, we need to pull up and we need to do better than Oklahoma State student section did, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to get there and you can get entered into a raffle. Same day raffle. You don't have to wait any longer. We're going to announce prizes such as a TV, an air fryer, AirPods, a Keurig, and a bomber jacket. So it may be your lucky day. We'll see.
I'm gonna go dig up
Get
my
your raffle
student ID.
tickets
I don't
for
have that
sure.
anymore.
And then lastly, on top of the cherry on top of that is you will get early admission to the men's game on Sunday, and the first 500 students there get a Texas Tech basketball crew neck, which is really, really nice. So get your early admission,
Say
get your raffle
less.
tickets, be there, wear black, and you have no excuse to not go to the Lady Raider game because guess what? Tech men's basketball doesn't play till Sunday, and the NFL championships aren't until Sunday. So you have nothing better to do. So please come support Lady Raider basketball, wear black, and wreck them.
Let's go. Tyler, our marketing wizard, as always, crushing it. That's cool. That's a lot of fun stuff. A lot of free stuff. Not
It
free. I guess it's
is
free if you win it. You get the raffle. But
true.
got to be there, and some great basketball is going to be had. The Lady Raiders were on a 5-game losing streak. Tyler said last week we're going to break the streak, and then we're going to go on a 5-game win streak. Well, they got 2 of those down this week, Tyler. 2 of them. First on that list was a very scrappy BYU team that has a really good freshman, and she did her thing late in that game, but we held on to win that game. 70-65. We had a pretty big lead for a lot of that, especially in the middle 2 quarters. Got a little crazy at the end, a little bit of a mental monster, tried to come up and eat us. And we kicked it off our back, which was good to see. It's not easy to do that, to get in those moments, and to have someone come back like that and say, no, 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 no. We're going to make these clutch free throws. Good job. Thanks for trying to make it a game, but not going to happen. And they got it done. What were your thoughts? I'll get some highlights fired up. We can read through some box score stuff. But what thoughts do you have on that game? BYU, big win,
Oh
broke a
yeah,
streak.
BYU I thought was an excellent game. We needed that win really badly. We all said going into that game, that's how we know where this team will be at for this season. Like, is the ceiling already to the ground, or is it still up there? And the ceiling is still up there. We were able to grit out a win. I wasn't too happy that the fourth quarter kind of got a little too close for comfort.
Too much.
I was like on the edge of the rail, like freaking out. But it's okay. We prevailed. We gritty, not pretty at the end. We still pulled out strong. We were able to get a large lead in the beginning, which was really good. You love to see that. People were making threes. People were getting all sorts of points. We actually saw some really great offense being run. So overall, glad we got the win. We really needed it because it's been a depressing like 2 or 3 weeks of 2025. So glad we got
Yeah.
that dub.
Yeah, I was just happy for them because we knew it was a tough stretch. And so for them to come out and see their work kind of pay off with a win is big. And to be able to do that, and there was great offense. And if y'all thought we were lying last week, most of y'all were. I think y'all said y'all liked us doing the film stuff, so we're gonna have some more visuals for you in this and show some more. We'll show the highlights and then break down some stuff too. But I wasn't BSing you. Like there was good stuff happening even in those losses, and you could see glimpses of what they could be. And I think this week we saw it more. And I feel like players are starting to understand what their roles are on this team. And we have those playmakers that we talked about last week really starting to grab hold of things, and everyone else is kind of like settling into their roles. And the more that happens, the more consistent they're going to be, and the more they're going to be able to hit shots, and the more they're going to just feel more comfortable out there. And you feel less pressure when you know what you're doing. Like I think the great Peyton Manning once said, you only feel pressure if you don't know what the hell you're doing out there. As long as you know what you're doing out there, you shouldn't really feel too much pressure because you know your job, you know your role. And I feel like I'm starting to see players that kind of have a good handle on what their role is on this team. And I think you saw that them gain a little confidence in that in the BYU game and the Houston game. But let's fire up these highlights and then we can talk about some more of it as we go. But I want to when they win the games, we got to watch the highlights. You got to see the whole all of it, and then we'll break down some individual stuff from it. But got to enjoy all of it.
Fighting right shoulder.
I mean,
Shavers
good
plants the
stuff.
feet, launches. That's a good
When
shot
Jazz
for
and Bailey get their
Shavers.
feet set,
Struggling a little bit in Big 12
going
play
in
for
most
her,
times.
So for her to come in and step up and make a big open shot
Great
going
pass
into the
by
first quarter
Logan
is
to-
going to be big for her because they need her to score.
Possession arrow, Tech has it. Lazy pass.
This is good hustle from Danae. Fritz right there. Stole it right back. Get it to Bailey. Finish through contact. Bucket. Love it. Those are important moments because we're turning it over too much, but to fight back and get the turnover right back, we need that.
Set up their practices and shoot arounds, and I thought it was just really fun watching them. Obviously, they got a ton of shooters, so they
Buckets.
made a ton of shots, but just really efficient.
It's been
We
so
gotta-
great that we're finding the 3-point shot.
Yeah,
I
and
just
in
gotta
this
say that.
game specifically, we did a really good job of finding threes in transition. And we talked about last week before in the preview that BYU does give up quite a bit of threes, like they're susceptible to that. But I thought we did a really good job in transition, and we really picked them apart there and got a lot of good looks in transition in three and in rhythm threes. And we didn't make all of them, but we made quite a few in this game. I think we shot about 48% or something from threes, so that was good to see because we have good shooters. We've been saying that all year. We just got to keep doing a better job of putting them in good spots where they're comfortable getting them
Going
up.
through their preparation.
Like great job by Jazz. I have a whole package, which you're probably gonna see a few in here, but I have a whole package just on Jazz Shavers and a few other people passing in this game. The passing in this game was great.
And that's another wide open three in transition. That has what has been good.
And she fills the void, as we mentioned, Katie Woolston on a
This
on a
whole
mission
three, we
trip.
talked about
She
this.
fills
This
that
whole
void today.
in
Fritz
post
got
out to the
three.
corner three that Danae keeps getting seems to work well with her. Going into the post, no matter if it's Maya or
Bristow has the
Sarah down
ability
there.
to push it.
I love that action. Back
Muffin
cuts.
backdoor.
We're just
Love that.
you're gonna pressure us high. We're gonna back cut on you.
They found
That's
power
a given.
through on diving there.
We do it a
Again,
lot against
Bailey
Houston
on a
too.
back-
Logan,
Johnson
tough.
got position inside and White
Can't stop
one.
back up.
They had
Can't
really
stop
good
her.
spacing. That opened up that drive.
You're gonna get that defense is not gonna work against Logan Johnson. I hate to break it to you.
Logan Johnson, a one-on-one lane line drive.
Now the coaching staff still believes there's great things in store.
Oh,
for this
I
Texas
love
Tech
this
team.
play right here. I didn't clip it, so
Rich
I'm
will
gonna
try
just
it
go back and
again.
watch it again. Can y'all? I mean, coaches, where you been hiding this beauty? Where you been hiding this? See how far we're back to.
Logan Johnson.
Watch this little, three-man weave screen action between Bailey. You know, everybody's about to key on Bailey in this, right? And she's going to get a lot of attention. And now you have Jada and Danae, who are both capable three-point shooters, and Bailey, who could shoot it too if she wants to. She can drive. All in the same action? Like, who you picking? Who you picking? Well, they jump on Bailey as expected. She's got 3 people on her. And so now the question is, who is that defender that Danae is screening? Who is she going to take? That's the question. If she takes Danae, Jada is wide open, cutting into the lane. If she takes Jada, which is what happens, Danae is wide open for a 3.
Texas Tech team.
Boom. Just great basketball. Just great basketball. I don't know who's drawing this stuff up lately. Someone on this staff, a lot of people on this staff, they're putting some good actions together, right? Earlier in the year, I was like, man, I can't even get mad at the players because some of these shots are they're not getting good looks. Man, are the coaches putting them in a good position right now and getting them good looks, even in the Houston game. Just good look after good look. That's beautiful. Like, you had 3 capable scorers on that play, man. I love that play so much. I about fell out my chair when I saw it. I'm a nerd, and I admit to this. I love basketball when it's played well, and I love to watch basketball minds, like coaches and the players, execute something at that level. Like, that's just smart basketball, easy basketball, really, but they got to make a choice. So I'm sure we'll see that again at some point in the right moment. I mean, what are we gonna do, Jazz? She can just make tough buckets.
Have the length of Jalen Bristow,
high ball screen,
Freeland coming off the bench with their ability to block shots too.
Buckets.
That's going to add up.
Jazzy.
Look, movement. See how Jazz moved on that to get open. We talked about that last week. The help side defense today. Let's go. We talked about that last week, needing to be better. Her and Jazz were both great at that this week in both games.
Left to play. Whiting on the drive. Rejected by
Kyla, what a week.
Kyla Freeland.
We're going to pretend like you know what? I want to give, listen, I don't know why they've left this in the highlights for love, but that whole play by Bailey, listen, it could have been brilliant. She only thought Kyla was there, is what happened on that. A lot of questions about that. She thought she saw Kyla run, and Kyla was there, but there was unfortunately a BYU defender there. But good job on Danae to recover and make it a tough 3. And then Jazz got the 3, and then she goes down and makes tough free throws. So that's that mental monster moment. I just don't know there, but it happens. But she saw Kyla back there, and she only thought Kyla was there. So it would have been a brilliant moment, and luckily her teammates had her back, and they made it. So listen, it's Bailey Mop, and she's allowed a play or 2 like that. I'm cool with it. So, but yeah, so we found a way to win that game. They did the damn thing. But yeah, I don't know if that's what I saw. One other thing in this game, while we have the clips up, the passing in this game was great. Do you have the box score up? I don't know how many assists we had in this game. See,
we had 14 assists.
On how many made field goals?
That I do not.
And it says how many field goals we had made in the field goal column? Yeah, under field goals made. It should
field goals made? Yeah, we had 19 field goals made.
So we had 14 assists on 19 made field goals. That is a very high percentage. That is where Coach Gerlich wants it. Last year's team was pretty good at that for most of the year. This year's team, we just haven't been getting a lot of assists for whatever reason, a lot of one-on-one basketball and stuff a lot of times. This game, Houston, it's better too. Just the passing is really great. You're going to see a lot from Jazz Shavers. I mean, she doesn't get credit for half of these, but I love some passing. And so I was like, I don't care, because I didn't see any of these in the highlights. So I'm glad I made a package on her own, because the girl deserves it. There's some other people making good passes in this too. And this is only from like the first quarter or 2. Like, I didn't even continue on in the game because I didn't have time.
For them on the low block, and she can also pick and pop.
It's been fun to watch how her role has increased. Here's Jasmine Shavers.
Also,
Role is
what we talked about last week with Sarah, like, get the hell out of the way. You notice how she dropped off. She dropped to the middle of the lane. And this is what happens when Jazz keeps her head up. She attracts 2 people, gets it to Sarah. Now she needs to make this and be stronger with the ball there. And there's a lot of moments like this, but that's where she can get better. But that doesn't mean that we have to, like, Jazz needs to ignore it. And now this is a great play in transition, a great pass from Bailey up to Jada, and then watch Jada get into the lane. She attacks the defender, and it makes the perfect pass to Sarah down low. Like, there's great passing, great shooting.
Here's Witt. Nice pass inside. Sanogo's going to be fouled on the outside.
If we had shot free throws better, made layups better, I think we won this game by 20 plus easy. But
I agree.
a learning experience. We got to finish this.
Still launched the three. 58% of her shots are from beyond the arc.
I mean,
Shavers, nice pass inside. Sanogo's going to be fouled. She's one of those players that comes in and provides a lot.
It makes her so much more dangerous, and this play is important because
Those players.
Oklahoma State will jump out and blitz you like this as guards, right? I've seen it in a few games they've played, and they're probably going to test our guards because of our turnover issues, and that's what BYU does here, is on the high ball screen, which we do a lot. Instead of, maybe it was accidental, but I don't think so. Instead of like taking Sarah, because she's not typically going to shoot from there, they just blitzed our guard and were like, hey, can you handle this? And Jazz handled it. She got it to Sarah.
It comes in and provides
Sarah
a
makes
lot
a
of
great
energy.
pass to Bristow. Like, this is great basketball.
Bristow,
And we're gonna
good
need
look
that
at the
against
three.
We're going to need that against Oklahoma State because they're going to blitz Jazz. They're going to blitz Bailey, probably Danae too, and they're going to see if our next secondary players can make the right pass after that. So that was a good
Nothing but the bottom of the net.
Bristow
The
making
second
threes.
from
Opportunities,
Keep shooting.
executing, keeps doing all those other things. Everybody knows everybody by this point of the season.
Sanogo inside.
That pass, Jasmine
Oh,
Shavers.
good. So good.
Like, she did this, she had stretches like this last year, and I'd be like, where you been hiding that, Jazz? Where you been hiding those passes? Like, I know she's capable of this. And people, like, there's like 8 people on her. Well, that's impossible, but you get my hyperbole there. But she'll have 3 people on her at most possessions, and sometimes she can make those shots, but it's going to keep opening up
So
her game.
efficient.
Even in this game, it opened it up at times where they delayed coming over her to get her later in this game because she was passing
For
so
them
well,
on the low block,
and
she can also pick and pop.
It's been fun to watch how her role has
Look at
increased.
this.
Here is Jasmine Shavers.
Okay, we're starting back over. I could watch this whole highlight package again, but Jazz had, that was all in like the first quarter or two. She had a bunch in the second half as well. I think she only had 3 assists in the box score, but let it be known, Jazz Shavers could have had about 8 or 9 assists in that game, if not more. She had a couple even just like cheap assists that could have been like just handoffs on the outside for a 3 that went in and out on stuff, you know. So like she was cooking out there, like good stuff. We need more of that from her. So that's kind of the BYU game. You want to read off any of the other highlights from like high performers, scorers, whatever you got in the box score there for them?
Yeah, so Bailey Maupin had 18 points and Jazzy had 19 points.
That'll do
Both
it.
of those in double figures can more than likely win you basketball games. So that was really good to see both of them in sync because it seemed like for the majority of the season, one of them would pop off and the other one would kind of be struggling and it would switch every now and then. But now both of them were in sync, really great, 18 and 19 points. Maya Pete had 6 points. Danae had 9. She went 3 for 5 from the 3-point line. Danae was en fuego.
That was
Really,
one of her
really
better
great.
games. We didn't mention her, so yeah, great. Bring her up. I thought that was one of her better games. I think we're still working to get her a 4-quarter effort from her, just like everybody. But she was everywhere. I mean, read her whole stat line off.
Yeah,
It was
she
a little
had
bit
3
stupid.
assists, 4 steals, 2 rebounds,
And how many blocks?
2 blocks. So
Like absurd. Just
yeah, absurd. Great.
I mean, and because she's the third guard on this team, like she's that third player. So to get that
For
out
sure.
of your third option on the team, like you'll take that all day. And I think we need to keep getting more. Like I want 8 shots out of her a game if they're going to be there. So I thought that was good stuff from her. And then Bristow had a couple threes. She was great in the first half. I think Adley got one to go. No, not Adley didn't get any run in this game. Maybe Jada got one to go. I don't know. A lot of people had good moments in this game. Everybody scored. Everybody that played scored, and they all scored in the first half too. That was the crazy thing at halftime. Every single person that had been in the game had at least 2 points. So, and you kind of saw that carried over into Houston. So, we out rebounded BYU, which BYU, Tyler talked about it in his preview last week, is a really good rebounding team, especially their guards. And I thought our guards brought it. I mean, you can read off our guards rebounding, especially Bailey and Jazz. I think they at least had 5 each, right?
Bailey had 6 rebounds, Jada had 6 rebounds, and Jazz had 5.
There we go.
We
And I think-
basically just split BYU's number. We took
we
BYU's
swapped
numbers
them,
from them.
and Danae might have had 3. I don't know, whatever you said earlier. And then
Danae
I think-
had 2, yes.
Yeah, and then all of our 3 guards, like Danae, Bailey, I'm just going off a dome, so I could be wrong, but I feel like Danae, Bailey, and Jazz all had at least 3 assists or something like that.
Yes, they accumulated both. They each had 3, so they accumulated for 9 out of the 14 assists, and then everybody else on the team had 1 minus Kyla. So
that's what we like to see. Playmakers.
Yes.
Those are your playmakers. They were out there making plays in that game. I like it. We're trending in the right direction. Obviously, tougher competition ahead, and so we're going to have to prove that we can do it when adversity hits. But we weren't doing this against Arizona State or even the teams as consistently in the non-con. So I like where it's going. So, yeah, good stuff. To out-rebound a BYU team that I think they came into the Big 12 like 5th in the league in rebounding in that game, and I think we're like dead last, or we were down there second to last or dead last in rebounding. And we brought it, and that's a big stat because turns out we're 8-1 now because we out-rebound Houston. We'll switch right over into that game, and we out-rebound them as well. And we're 8-1 on the season when we out-rebound people. That's a pretty important
it's really
stat.
good.
That's a pretty important stat. And we out-rebounded both opponents this week, and we won both games. Just saying.
For sure.
I got a whole little thing on rebounding in a minute, but that's something to remember.
Yeah, no, I think the rebounding has definitely improved. It was definitely one thing that we were concerned about in each game. Even if we weren't winning the rebounding battle, it at least was getting kept way closer from the SMU tragedy. And then the other thing also that I wanted to point out is that normally BYU is a really great three-point shooting team.
Tragedy.
We carried the streak from Iowa State not getting any threes. BYU didn't get any threes in the first half. So,
Yeah.
I mean, our three-point defense is locked in, and honestly, that's what kept BYU from getting back in this game. Like, they had a 3-point shot at the very end of the game that could have very well tied it, and they didn't make that. They only shot 29.4%. We shot almost 50% from the floor. So, again, a lot of good things that are happening. 3-point shooting's improving. Rebounding's improving. Turnovers is the only thing that seems like we just got to kind of have to work on.
Consistently not improving.
Yes.
So, yeah,
Yes.
they got to keep heading in trying to make some improvements there on the turnovers, but we'll leave that in their hands. But yeah, we've been one of the best teams in the country all year at limiting the three. At first, I was just like, this is a fluke. I don't get it, but it's like this long into the season, we're just really good at flying around. If you watch, I'll have some clips in a minute, and that's not the point of the clips, but you can watch us when we're playing defense. We're really good at moving when the ball's in the air, and so we're not necessarily stealing the ball, but if you watch, like, Danae's really good at it, Jazz and Bailey are getting better at it. When the ball's in the air, when that person catches it, our defender is right there when they catch the ball. So we might not be stealing it from them, but we're moving on the fly of the ball, and so when they catch it, they don't have room to shoot. Now, sometimes people are able to then drive off of us, and we've seen that be a problem, but we're not, 2s or less than 3s. Something to keep in mind because Oklahoma State likes to shoot a lot of 3s. So something, hopefully, that will help us in this game when we talk about that. But let's get into Houston. Let's show the full highlights, and then we can talk about the game because it was just yesterday. But was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday.
Was midday matinee.
Today? Yesterday? I don't know when that was. Let's watch them. We got the win. We dominated this game from about the second quarter on. Wasn't much of a game.
Back when the first meeting in December by 15.
We love a good back cut to start the game.
Cut. Easy bucket for Bailey Maupin.
What a pass,
for our
Sarah.
First points
Great
today.
back cut, Bailey. Back cut, Bailey.
She says it's been a tough year. They've underperformed based
Ball
off their
screen. You're going to see this play in a minute in a package that I have for you.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Stuff, Jalen.
Start to take care of the ball more and get some more looks up.
This is a great defensive play from Kyla, who had herself a game. Again, we got a whole Kyla segment coming up. Don't you worry. She's about to get her shine. She was brilliant in this game, especially when she got run into 5.
Looks right now the way that she just continues to pull
Jazz
down
gonna
the
be
board.
Jazz.
She's there every time. She reads
Should have been
it
and
well
one. I'm
sees
here
where
with
the
you
ball's
guys.
coming off the rim.
I don't know. They didn't give us a lot
Beautiful
of foul calls.
left-handed finish
Didn't
from
get to free throw
Jasmine
line a lot,
Shavers
but
leads to a Houston timeout.
we finished through the contact.
After taking a hit,
I mean,
in one of their last
Adley
games,
with the
Adley.
steal. She was great in this game.
Athletically
She was
retired,
hyped.
but
She made a couple
typically see her on
threes.
the bench
She got
with
the
the
crowd
team. She
going.
wasn't able
The
to make it
crowd,
out for
our
this
team
trip.
going.
Yeah,
It was a midday
yeah,
game in a
as
snow,
much
so there
as
wasn't a
it
huge crowd,
really
which is a
might
bummer.
not have been a foul. It's
Look
just
how
a nice
hyped she
job
gets
by
up through
Texas
this.
Tech
Just
in
yelling at the
Man.
bench. I don't know
that
if they show it,
situation.
but
Adley.
let's go.
Adley.
That's
The
Adley.
attention
I
by
love
the
her so
ref.
Here
much.
today.
She got the energy going. Great pass.
Nice job.
Good
Beautiful.
spacing. Little triangle action there.
Texas Tech is drawing down low.
And passes to Maupin. Good long rebound.
High ball screen. We
from
got a
Danae
whole
Fritz.
segment coming up on that in a minute. Jada
Winston
loves the
to another
Fertitta.
three. This
Fertitta,
time it's
Frittata,
all
whatever the heck
there.
center it's called. She had like 5 threes there last year, and she got a couple, 2 or 3 to go in this game. It was
Tightly
good to see
guarded
her
by Bailey
shooting well.
Maupin. Another turnover.
Man,
Maupin forced
look at
it.
this
It was
pass.
caught by
Logan.
Sanogo. Johnson
money.
back for Shavers.
Call a timeout.
Good.
Call a timeout. We
We
outscored them something like 41 to 16 between the second and the third quarters.
Frustrating for a coach to
41 to
the
16
potential that
across
you
the second
have
and the
then
third
not
quarters.
see you execute to that
Man,
level.
if we
Crazy.
could ever get 4
You
quarters
can't
of
let-
basketball
you
going, but
can't
those
let
were
the
2 hella
opponent
good
affect
quarters.
Your game plan and what you want to do, you have to go out and so
Oh,
execute the way
Kyla.
that
I
you
mean, Kyla
want
had a
to.
game
And right
just
now,
doing it. And that,
just
she's
Texas Tech
not
is
bigger than that girl.
dictating the
She's
pace
smaller
this
than
game,
that
has
post, and she was
experience.
still
She
doing
can
it.
show firsthand. I love this
High
program,
ball
and
screen.
this is why, and this is what I did.
Calling
in
that
my
out for a
time,
reason.
and
We're
these
gonna
are
talk
the
about it in a
memories
minute, but it
that I
works
will
a lot.
cherish and remember forever. And
Flex
she's
on 'em.
attracting those type of players close to home, have grown up Texas Tech fans, and now having the opportunity to play for a school
at-
like
ooh,
that and
ooh,
play for a coach like Krista Gerlich. It's just a really cool opportunity
not
is
fair.
available to play in this game, but at point you're going to get
Logan's so
worn down,
strong, they
and
gave her
you can just
continuation
feel
on that
right
play. I
now
don't
from
think
the
that should have been an
Vancouver
and one,
team, a
but
little the depth
she's so
that
strong, like, we're
Texas
gonna give you the
Tech
two
has
steps. This is the
versus lack
WNBA.
of that Houston has to build even more camaraderie and chemistry.
Oh, look,
that,
another
you
ball
know,
screen.
they've
She
built
refuses it, but
throughout
it
this
works. Again,
season.
you're going to see
So
this play in a minute.
At times it's
Just
easier to
keep
be
note
on
of
the
it.
road when you're stuck in a situation like this.
Nice finish here from Danae Fritz.
So those are the highlights. Good stuff. I thought we kind of, I mean, I can't speak to the why of it, but I felt like Houston had zero desire to be in that basketball gym from about 3 minutes into the second quarter on in that game. And maybe that was some of the snow stuff. Maybe it was other things they had going on. I can't speak to what it was, but I think it was mostly we just snatched their like will to want to be out there. I mean, and I don't know, you know, again, I can't speak to the why, but if you look at that box score, and I know Danae didn't score in the first half. I know Bailey only had 4 total points, and Jazz only had 15. That's about her average, but I don't think she had a ton of those in the first quarter or in the first half, maybe 4 or 5 of them. And so, as a team, I'm sure they came into that game, right? And their coach was like, guys, this is what we got to do. Keep them off the free throw line and limit Maupin and Shavers. And if we do that and force their role players to beat us, we'll be in the game and have a chance to win this game. They were doing that, and they were still down by 20. You know how demoralizing that has to be? Because our role players will go in insane in this game. We had 7 different players. 7 different players have at least 6 points in this game. Only one person in double figures was Jazz. She carried us there, but everybody was doing it. I can't tell you the last time that Bailey Maupin had 4 points, only 6 shots taken, and I wasn't like, man, Bailey's playing terrible. She was just taking what the defense was giving her. They were jumping on her. She was giving it to her teammates. She didn't force it. Really mature game from Bailey Maupin. Just let her teammates work out there and took what the defense gave her. And we won by, I mean, we were up like 29 at one point in this game. Kind of left our foot off the gas in the fourth quarter and end up winning by 18. But you get 19 total points across Bailey and Jazz, right? And you still win by that much. Like this is a team I feel like they thought they were building in the offseason, and we saw it in spurts in the non-con, but everybody just seems comfortable in the roles. They're shooting confidently and they're getting them up. That was just a really well-rounded game, and I just thought that it's not easy to keep playing when your opponent just looks that defeated. Like, I just felt like Houston had no desire to be there after about the second quarter on when we went on that run. And they only 18-4 in the second quarter or something. And I said 41-16 over 2 quarters. It was like they were done. They were out of there. And it's kind of fun to be able to be the team that's like, you know, demoralizing someone to that point. And that's what we can do when we kind of keep it. Because it would be easy to play down to their energy level or to the energy level of the crowd situation because of the snow and the time period. But we just played our basketball and kept shooting and all the things. So it was easily one of the most dominant games of the season.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that what threw Houston off was I don't think they were ready. Our bench scored a combined 30 points. So that was almost half of what we scored. And I think that the bench came up huge. I mean, Adley, Kyla had 8 points. Jalen and Logan, 6 points. And then just from our starters, Danae had 7, Jazzy 15, Jada had 6, Bailey had 4. So all in total, we had people that are getting back to being who they were and are scoring. And that's good to see. We want to run great offense. And I think that the bench coming up huge is something that we have kept talking about all season. Coach has been talking about it. We have the depth to where we can kind of gas them out. Houston is a team very guard heavy, and they don't have a lot of depth. So once they once we just get them gassed out, like they're gassed out, like they're just gonna sign out. So
Tough life for them.
yes, tough
But
life
that's the
for them.
thing about Houston is they've been playing people competitively lately. And so, like, Houston, no one's going to sit here and argue that Houston is a great team. They have, like, 6 wins or something this year because of the depth issues.
5.
But they literally beat Oklahoma State, like, last week.
Right.
One of the most
Ranked
baffling
Oklahoma State.
outcomes of the in the season, basketball season ever. But that's, like, they're capable of it when their players get going. And they played Kansas State, tied through 3 quarters, right? And then they played Baylor decently tough on the road. Like, they fought with Baylor. It was not a blowout like what we were doing just demoralizing against them. It just felt like we had a really good game plan. We knew exactly what they wanted to do and weren't letting them do it. And then from the jump, had a good plan on offense. Even when we weren't making the shots, I'll play a clip from Jazz Shavers. He explains it better than me. Even when we weren't making the shots, we kept shooting them. And there's something to that, right? Even if you're not making them, if you're getting a good shot, basketball players are not stupid for the most part. Most basketball players, especially at this level, are not stupid. They know if you got a good shot, damn it, I messed up. You got a good shot. I just got lucky that you missed it. And we were doing that a lot in the first quarter, and then they started falling later. So listen to this from Jazz, and then we'll show some clips from there.
Man, what a dominant performance on the road. Snowy conditions. You guys were here longer than you expected. What was working well for you all?
I think it was really just our defense. I think we came out defensively and got on them from the jump, and then our offense kind of followed. We kind of struggled early hitting open shots, but I think we never stopped shooting. So I think it was just confidence, defense, and like putting our foot on the gas and never letting up.
A lot of confidence from the bench, too. 30 points from the bench. What does that say about your group?
That we're a dangerous group from the starting 5 to all of the 15 that's on the team. And when you have a bench that's scoring 30, I mean, you're dangerous. So, like I said, confidence from the starters, but also confidence from the bench, and that just reeled us to the win.
Thanks, Jasmine.
Thank you.
I mean, she nailed it. That's Jazz Shavers right there doing the thing. As I said earlier, we're now 8-1 when we out-rebound people, and we out-rebounded Houston heavily. 40-28. And I loved it so much that I didn't really go into clipping stuff for you guys thinking I'm going to do a rebounding package, but we were out there working. And it's important because we need to out-rebound Oklahoma State on Saturday. Clearly, we're 8-1. We need to start out-rebounding people, and we can win games. Also, it helps with the whole turnover thing. You know, if we're out-rebounding people, it's giving other people less possessions. It's getting us extra possessions if we're going to give up possessions, all those things. And we just brought it in different ways on the boards. And this is the type of energy that we need consistently in every game. They seem like they're starting to really fight on the boards. And these are teams that rebound better than us typically. And we out-rebounded them both. I don't know about, I mean, we're one of the worst rebounding teams, if not the worst. So they probably do, as a team, rebound better than us. I don't know. I have to look it up. Houston might be down there with us, but BYU certainly was ahead of us. And we found a way to do it. Even undersized at times, like when you'll see Kyla, she played a lot of 5 in this. She wasn't bigger than that girl, but she wanted it more. So this whole package on rebounding, I know this is going to make people that love rebounding happy. So just enjoy this beautifulness from like all our guards, our posts, all the people doing the thing. And
fade away.
And this is all just from the Houston game. I could have had time. There were some really good ones in the BYU game too. Shout out Sarah. She snatched one-handed in the BYU game and then got a little excited and walked, but the rebound was so hype. But a lot of good rebounding in this.
Off the back iron.
There's Sarah
And
right
the rebound
there
inside
from
from Saracen. Here's Blair. Quick trigger from the left wing is off the...
Did y'all see the block out? Remember our rant on blocking out earlier in the year?
Trigger.
Look at her blocking her out. Just a little nudge. That's all it takes. Just a little
From
nudge.
the
That's
left
all I
wing is
need.
off the mark. Rebound underneath from the Blair.
The growth, y'all.
McFarland.
Then just go get
Missed
it.
it.
Drops a
Hit the
little bit,
mid-range.
but
Love
able
nearly
to get it
chased
to her
down the
teammates.
reach.
We'll take it.
To complete
We'll
some of
count
those
it.
goals that we have in mind.
Look at this.
So we
Look
have
at
to
this.
put
All
that
of them
behind
out there
us, flush
scrapping,
those losses.
playing some volleyball out
Scrapping.
there until we get the ball. If you can't get it, knock it up in the air until one of your
Pressured
teammates
by
can.
Love.
Don't make it
Good
easy on
vision
them.
across court for
That's
Fritz.
also a really good pass, by
She
the way.
missed
Love that.
three.
She's going to make that more times than not.
Look at Kyla. Look at
Tough
that.
rebound here.
Let's watch it again because we love
Pressured by
Kyla for a
Love.
moment.
Good vision across court for Fritz.
Boom.
She missed the 3.
I mean, and Sarah, to be fair. She tipped it too, Kyla.
Tough rebound.
I'm going to need Danae to just take that 3 again, but it's
Here
fine.
for-
She does
for
make a good
Lafayette.
pass
He's
here,
checked
and this
in
is
the
a
game.
bullshit call. Our old teammate there, or player there, Ashley, they call a charge on Sarah.
Back
It's not
inside,
Sarah's fault that
offensive
Ashley's short.
Shavers.
It's not Sarah's fault. All she does is turn. Anyway, I hate that call. It's so annoying to me when they call that. Like that, she didn't swing at her. But anyway, should have been a 2 there.
Back to her left
Get away.
hand.
This is one of those moments that we don't get the hell out of the way now that I'm watching
Jab
this.
step.
We get a little caught. Like if Sarah leaves to counter that from last week, we're still working on this. If Sarah's like, oh, Jazz is about to spin here, I'm getting out of here, Jazz probably gets a layup.
Back to her left hand.
She runs into her, and she almost makes it anyway. So that's a small pet peeve moment. But anyway, she makes up for
Shavers
it and
off
gets
the
the
window,
rebound.
missed it.
Just needs to make that shot there.
Offensive rebound, missed putback.
So rebounding was great. You're going to see some more clips we'll just go into in this game, and you'll see some more rebounding. You know, Danae and Logan were both doing a great job of kind of just chasing down rebounds and just getting their hand on it and tipping it out to teammates so they could get the rebound. Like, they're just very active on the boards and not ball watching. Again, 8-1. I mean, put that stat in the locker room before they walk out there. Y'all are 8-1 when you out rebound teams. Let's go make it 9-1 on Saturday.
Yeah, and I think also, like, if you look at our stat line from just rebounding alone, I mean, Kyla had 7 rebounds, Jalen had 6, Jazzy had 5, Jada had 5, Sarah and Bailey and Danae had 3. I mean, what more could you ask for? Everybody, you get a rebound, you get a rebound, you get a rebound, like Oprah, like crazy.
Yeah, and I don't want to hear this Houston was missing a lot of shots. They were. And that's true, but we've been in some games like that early in the year where people are missing a lot of shots and the other team was just getting their own rebound and going back up, right? So we're playing good defense and we're forcing people into tough shots. When we can keep it to one shot, this is when we can go on these runs where we kind of demoralize them because then they don't get easy putbacks. So it's very important for us to do this more often. We're not the biggest we're not the biggest team inside. But we are big when it comes to our guards. We are taller than most teams we play across the board because of our guard size. And then we get people like Jalen out there at the 4 even. Like, that's just a cheat code, you know? And so we need Jalen doing that more often. She can really rebound when she goes down there tough. So that was good stuff. 2 other clips from this. We talked about Kyla. So this is a whole package just on Kyla specifically. Like, it's all in the second quarter. Because when she got in there, you saw some of it here, but when she got in there and was playing at the 5 position, it's something that I've like been anti for all season, and she's done it in spurts. But this might be the most extended run we've given her at the true 5 spot in this game, and it might have been because Sarah was nicked up or something there, parts of the game they mentioned on the broadcast, and they felt like they had to. But I mean, take a look at this stuff because it looks good, and it wasn't like Houston was tiny. Like, at times she's doing it against McFarland, so. This is a 2-part clip. It's about 3 minutes long. We'll talk through it, but it's one about Kyla because she did the damn thing and deserves some shine and all the flowers. And then the second half of it is actually Jada. And I could have gone on with a few more role players. So this is about Kyla, but it's also about the role players. And the way that they came in, and they just went all out when they were in there. Just all out. And we have so many people, and they're making like play after play after play in like a 2-minute spurt, right? And you'll see that in the Jada one. That's what we need. That's how this team wins. Is you get in the game, play 100% for 2 minutes straight, and do all the damn things, and then Gerlich will give you a blow. Someone else will come in for you, and you're going to get the rest. But go all out, and I feel like you see that with what Jada did in this little clip that we'll see in a minute. It's just a spurt, but certainly Kyla to start it.
Team losing Elani Ogman as
setting ball screens, moving around, just a minute. Look at this rebound. I just want it more than you. I just want it more than you. I'm going to go get it because it's mine. Same thing. Says, give me that. Give me that. Kicks it out. That's 5 points just from Kyla Freeland right there. We don't get those points if she doesn't out there doing that. We go on a big run with her in the game in the second quarter. Playing at that 5 spot specifically. Look at this defense. You already saw this clip. Doesn't foul. Stays vertical. That's one of the best players in the league. Really seasoned player right there.
Look at that.
Kyla, where has that been? She's been working with Coach P on that. Like, we need more. If Kylie can do this, she can absolutely play the 5 position for us. Because, I mean, she hasn't quite been able to develop an outside shot. So that's why I'm like, hey, if that's not going to happen, she needs to be a 5 player. She's basically Sarah. She can rim run. She's elite. She's a track star. That's what she did. They talked about that 9 million times. They told that story so many times. I'm like, can we get a new story? But anyway, if you haven't heard that story, she's a 2-time, 3-time, 4-time state champion in track. That's what she did. And we turned her into a basketball player. She can rim run and all the things. And if she can add post moves like this, a grown-ass woman move on the block against a post player that's bigger than you, I mean, Kyla.
She can do in the paint.
Ma'am.
4 points for Maupin.
This possession, this is why I like her, and I like this lineup a lot too. I think this is with Jalen at the 4 and her at the 5, and you got Bailey, Jazz, and Danae in there. They also had it a lot with Adley in there. They can all switch. This lineup can switch everybody, especially against when, for the most part, Houston was small at times too when McFarland was out, but I think she might be in here. But we switch. A lot of these ball screens, we just switch them. They can't get free. It allows us to have good defense. Now, that's a good cut. Jazz is a little bit late on that, but Kyle is running over there to make it a tough shot. Jazz makes it a tough shot, then gets the rebound. So, like, the ability to switch when they're in there is fun. Same thing on this possession. You'll see it again. Watch us switching a lot of things. It doesn't give them good stuff. Adley's in there now. Same group. I think it's just Adley instead of Danae. But same kind of thing. They can just switch. And it's really hard for people to get what they want when we're switching everything. And then that's great defense from Jalen without fouling. And then Kyla gets the rebound. Like, it's just good stuff. And then Kyla runs the floor on this. It's something that she can do.
Married a big family. We remember seeing her last year.
And here's something. See who Kyla, this is one thing we need to do better. If Kyla's going to play more 5 and play more minutes, she can run the floor because, again, track star, hello. She is posted up on their, like, smallest player on the floor because that was the only player that could beat her down the floor was their point guard, right? She beat all the big girls down the floor, and so it's this little guard that's trying to stop Kyla. We need to recognize that. In this moment, instead of Jalen going up there, I need Jalen to have recognized that on the beat because Kyla recognized it and she's posting up. If Jalen gets that on the wing there and gets it down to Kyla, that's an easy 2 points. Easy 2 points right off. And she doesn't recognize it. I feel like Jazz tries to, maybe looks at it, but see, Kyla is working down there, and we just don't get it to her. She is on a point guard. Tiny girl, 5'7" girl. Like, Kyla's 6'1" or whatever. She's not the biggest post player, but she's bigger than 5'7", and now they got another girl helping her out. But if we had recognized that right away, that's an easy 2 points. Now, counterpoint. This is such a fun little athletic little fundamental lineup that they still get a bucket off of this. So it works out because Kylie gets a rebound. Shocker. Oh, wait, actually, Adley. And then watch Jalen. Ooh, pump fake. Mid-range buckets. Bunny. So it worked out in the end. We got 2 points in the end because that group is just a solid group. But Kylie's going to get in mismatches a lot when she runs the floor because someone's got to stop her. And that's just the end of the Kyla package, just her getting a tie-up. She was super active, doing all the things in this game. So I love a Kyla moment. I'm sure we'll play her. You know, she works at the 4 at times too in the right matchups. It's just when she plays the 4, it sometimes has bogged our offense down. We've talked about that because she can't get out and shoot. But there are also times, I mean, in the first quarter, she was still impactful in the first quarter in this game, and she was playing more 4, but it wasn't as impactful when she moved to the 5. It just, the offense was spread out, the way we could play defense, all the things. And then Jalen can play the 4, and Jalen does threaten the defense because Jalen can shoot. And so it's just a different dynamic, in my opinion. And so it was cool to see, and I get that different teams, different matchups, we'll see how they can implement it. And Kyla has to bring it that way every game, right? She has to bring it that way. It's on her as well, but it was good. So that was Kyla, and then I talked about the back half of this is Jada. So this is like all, you can watch the time on this. This is all like the first 2-3 minutes of the second half. And Jada comes in here and just dominates this 2 to 3 minutes of the second half. And, like, this is what we need from our role players. And there was another stretch that Adley did something similar. You know, Jalen had a similar stretch. Like, I could have gone and clipped it for all of our role players. But this is what we need. They need to come in there and go all out 100% for 2-3 minutes. And then she'll have someone else come in for you, get a blow. And the next person come in here all out. Jada's everywhere. She misses this 3. Great rundown by Danae. Gets the rebound. Fights for it. And it's going to come back over, and Jada's going to get another chance on this. And she's going to end up draining the 3 second time around.
After wide open. Like,
Wide open, wide open. I get why maybe they're sagging off her, but I hope they keep doing it because now that she's getting something to go, she's a deadly three-point shooter. And this is all in the same run, right? Now she's going to go play some good defense. She's going to get on the floor. No, I love how Jada doesn't hesitate. We have some players on this team that kind of stand. They might make a good defensive play, and then they'll just kind of look at the ball on the ground, and it makes me want to scream and throw something in my TV. I'm like, get on the damn floor. You made a great defensive play. Go get it. Jada never hesitates. She makes a good defensive play. She is the first one on the floor. First one on the floor. And then she doesn't let them get it. That's a steal for us. All the same group. Oh, we give it right back up. Let me just take a charge. Let me just take a charge. All the same clip came into this game and said, no. I'm going to own this. Again, same spot. I just jumped ahead a couple of spots. I think she's going to get an assist on this play to Jazz in the corner. Now people are having a little worry about her making a three, right? Got to run out at her. Jazz makes it. So she had a three, a charge taken, a steal, an assist. She's not done yet. They don't show it because they're showing the bench. She nearly gets another steal here, knocks it off that girl, but they let them keep it. Then she plays good defense right away after that, forces this bad pass. We get a steal. Our ball. This is Jada Wynn, just being a menace. And then she ends off this clip. Oh, here's another one. Watch her get the hell out of the way. We talked about this last week. High basketball IQ. She clears her player out of the way, but it's not done yet. Watch here. Watch this defender. Jazz is cutting in the lane. And Jazz has been so good at passing lately. You think that there's no way she's getting into the lane there, right? Because that girl's, she could take a charge. She's there. She's in the position. But she's like, oh shit, Jada Wynn's over there. She runs out to make sure Jazz can't pass it to Jada. And it leaves that lane wide open for Jazz. All because Jada's been making shots. All because Jazz has been willing to make the passes. Otherwise, that girl just stands there. And earlier in the season, Jazz might get a charge. Now, season Jazz, if that girl stands there, I'm pretty confident she would have passed this to Jada, and Jada would have hit a three. But that girl had to make a choice. So that was literally, you can look at the clock. We're like a minute and a half, a minute into the third quarter.
And the other thing with Texas,
all of that happened in like the first minute and a half of the second half. All from Jada Wynn. So again, you could find moments like that from our role players all game long in this. We have to have that on Saturday. Just like baseline, have to have everybody bringing it that way every time they're on the court. That was good stuff. We haven't always seen that from Jada this year. She can be really impactful when she's bringing it like that. That just doing all the little things for us.
I liked in this game our intensity and our aggressiveness. I thought that it has since improved. I mean, you think about it, that snowstorm, it could have messed with us as well. And instead, we flipped it around and we decided to come out really strong. And that's why I just love to see Kyla have such a great game, and Jada and all these other people that are going out there and rebounding and all the things, getting on the floor. It's the team that we all knew and loved, and we knew they were capable of it. And finally, we're kind of getting out of that funk and we're showing who we really are.
I agree. Absolutely. Team basketball. Team basketball again. This was a true team effort in this game. Everybody was doing their thing, and I guarantee you, if Bailey needed to take more shots, she would have. If Jazz needed to take over late, she would have. But both of them are just taking kind of the shots they got. Certainly, Bailey only had 6. If she felt like she needed to get more shots up, Bailey would have. But she didn't need to because her teammates were doing it, and she was making the right passes. So it's just really impressive to win a game in this way. I feel like we're getting better. And I think that's encouraging. We'll see if that translates onto Saturday when we start playing better competition. But we played better against Houston in this game than we did the first time. We're a better team now than we were 2 weeks ago. I don't know that we beat Houston 2 weeks ago if Bailey only had 4 points, for instance. You know what I mean? Or 4 weeks ago, whenever that was. So I do think we've seen growth, and that's exciting. One more thing that just I liked to see in this game, and we talked about it last week, this high ball screen action. It's not fancy. Every team in the country does it, but it works really well for our guards, especially since, we gotten better spacing and they're allowed to be playmakers. I talked about that last week. I really like when we put our 3 lead guards in these positions, and I like that we allowed Danae to have a couple of opportunities in this game at that too, and she scored off of them. But Bailey and Jazz, and the cool thing is if it's 2 of them out there together or it's 3 of them or Logan. I don't have any clips from Logan in this. Logan usually just goes on her own. I don't know if she ever needs a ball screen because she can just beat people, but she could be included in this if we ever wanted to. But the cool thing is right, they can identify like which one of us has the player we want to attack, like a Sydney Harris, like when they were going at her at Iowa State. You know, if y'all watch the Iowa State game, whoever was guarded by Sydney Harris, we were like, it's your ball, go attack her. You saw that a couple of times when forgetting her name for Houston was in the game off the bench, something with a B, I think. Anyway, transfer from Maryland. When she was in there, we just attacked her off the bench. Bostic. We just came in and attacked her. And so when they can identify that, sometimes it doesn't matter because it just works no matter who's guarding them. When we can identify it, that'll help us. But anyway, I just like the high ball screen action. It works like I feel like it works almost every time.
Gotta find a way
either get leading to a good shot for them or a teammate.
Any offensive rebounds.
It's really dangerous right here between Jazz and Bailey because like who are you gonna choose? You gonna go with Bailey or are you gonna leave Jazz open for a 3?
Able to pull them down.
And the more consistently they're getting this, I know Jazz and Bailey are working on that shot in their individual time. They're like, hey, we're getting a lot of good looks off the dribble. Like, you know they're getting those shots up in practice. So that's good to
has
see.
another rebound.
These are all high ball screen opportunities. This one's in transition, once I really like. Kyla
looks right now the way that
she
goes to the rim. You give Jazzy a one-on-one spot to the rim, she's going to make it more times than not. And here's kind of an offshoot of that. Now it's not just a high ball screen, but it's a high ball screen, and then the screener rolls. And then watch Jazzy on the backside. It's a double screen because the only reason Jalen gets open to the rim on this is Jazz makes a great screen of her own player, but her own player then screens Jalen's player, and it gives Jalen this screen. So it's a double screen, and then the roller gets the ball at the end and has this nice little alley-oop type moment at the end. You've already seen the play, but watch it more in depth now. So we just saw that great screen and run. She's going. She knows this is clearly a set play. They've drawn this up, and you can see Jazz. It doesn't happen if Jazz doesn't make this screen on her own player, but in doing so, it also screens Jalen's player.
But she did talk about how
love that.
Love that. Love good executed basketball. When this team is executing stuff, the coaches are drawing up. It's pretty stuff. Another one in transition. I love this. I honestly would love to I don't want to say every time, that probably wouldn't work. I'll leave that to the coaches, but it feels like we try it.
I love this.
And she gets a good look here, gets a one-on-one moment and one.
And these are the memories that I will cherish and
I mean, you get Jazz and one-on-one to the basket, like that's a good shot, whether it goes in or not. Here's another one, a little 2-man game with Bailey and Sarah. Eventually turns into like a little bit of a double ball screen action because Jada helps her out first off the handoff screen there, and then Sarah's going to screen for her here, and then she gets it out to the corner to Danae. Misses the shot, but this is in and out. That's a shot Danae's going to make a lot. Again, I'll take Danae taking that shot, Jada taking that shot, any of our shooters taking that shot. That's going to go in more times than not. It came off a high ball screen action, letting your playmakers play make.
Starters and reserves fighting.
Look, another high ball screen that leads into Danae getting her own. And we haven't seen this a lot, getting her getting these opportunities, but it was good to see her get a couple in this game and get to drive to the basket because she can do this. Like, this is in her bag.
Nice.
Could have been an and one.
To build,
and this is, I think, another one. She refuses the screen on this because she sees the opening. She has that Boston girl on her. She knows she can take her. But this even just the action gives her that space to take it. That, finishes it. Gets the step. Gets there. Because I don't know if Danae has the same first step as like a Logan. Okay, I know she doesn't have as good of a first step as Logan. No one does. But even like Jazz or Bailey, their first step might be a little bit better than Danae. But if you give her space, she's an instinctual player. So creating space like that for her on ball screens, whether she refuses the screen or not, when she has the right person on there, I'd like to see that more because her shot's starting to fall. She's taking them confidently. People are going to start closing out on her. The more she can add that to her game, I think it's good. You have 4 guards when Logan's in there, that can really attack the rim, and then they can pass off of it too. So that's all just in this. And then there's one in the BYU game. I like this because it's a little bit of a different one. It's a high ball screen, but Bailey goes baseline, ends up getting a good a pass out to Kyla. A nice cutter in the lane there.
Love that.
We talked about attacking the baseline last episode, being a playmaker. Bailey does that off the screen in this, and then Kyla, that doesn't happen if Kyla's not aware and smart cutting through the rim. So there was a lot of them in both games that we could have highlighted, but There you go. Hopefully that helps y'all. Y'all liked when we were doing stuff like that. It's a lot of work, but I'll try to do it when I can, especially when y'all request certain things or we see certain things and want to highlight players. But that's kind of the stuff I saw in this game. They won 2 games, so I'm going to highlight the good stuff for the most part. There was some stuff that we talked about that they'll keep getting better on. But I kind of like where it's headed, to be honest. So now we get to see if they can do it against some teams ahead of them in the standings.
Yeah, no, for sure. I loved how both of these games went. I love that we went 2-0. The intensity, the aggressiveness, as I've said, it's all improved. And I really like that we're starting to see those role players and those bench players really start to step up and understand that, hey, like, you either make it or you break it this season. So you just need to go out there and play some basketball. I think that this team at times can get in their head a lot. They just need to go out there and play freely. And that's what they did against Houston. Great, great momentum to bring into Saturday for sure.
Yeah. I think moving forward, listen, they got to figure out the turnover thing, and you just said get in their head. I'm still on the same page with the turnovers. A lot of them, I think, are when they're tentative, especially against Houston. We had 7 in the first quarter. This seems to be a theme. We have a lot in the first quarter, and then we kind of calm down from there. I would say 5 of those were like, we had 3 seconds in the lane. Like, is this high school? Like, I haven't seen that called in forever. One of them was questionable, but 2 of them really were. We had a travel where we hesitated on a layup, just should have taken it, and we got a little caught thinking in our heads. We had one where we hesitated and threw it. I think it was maybe Jada hesitated on the pass on the press break and threw it. Like, it's the hesitation ones. I said this earlier in the year. If we could cut out the tentative ones, when we're attacking, when we're playing aggressively, instinctually, those don't happen. And then we're still too many, but we're around 15, 16 turnovers a game. And I can kind of live with that with this team this year. I think that's just like, that probably is the best we can hope for at this point. But 15 to 16 turnovers with us isn't terrible because we force like 20-something turnovers a game. So then you're +6, +5 or 6. Right now, we're forcing 21 turnovers but turning it over 22 times. So it's kind of evening out, which helps. But think of how much it could help if we could do both. So turnovers need to get better. Consistency, that's still what this team is searching for. But kind of what I talked about earlier, I think even like with the shooting, you're starting to see players find their role. There's less pressure on you when you know what your job is out there. You can get in the gym and you know what shots to look for. Like, because I'm consistently getting a shot from the corner off of this type of action, off a catch and shoot action. I'm consistently getting a ball, off the ball screen jumper right at the top of the key or at the free throw line. I'm consistently getting that. All of a sudden, now they can work on that kind of stuff. It's gonna help them be more consistent. It's just the offense being consistent, and them knowing what their role is that will allow them to work on that. So consistency has to get better. If we could ever play a 4-quarter basketball game, man, well, that would be hype. Really close to that against Houston, I would argue, but pretty good against Houston. The 4th quarter wasn't terrible. We just took foot off the grass a little bit. And then before Tyler gives his preview, what I want to see is an okay bet attitude moving forward with this team. Right? I think they gained some momentum. They won some games. They showed that we could swing some punches at teams that we should. It's not easy to beat teams you should beat, especially coming off a losing streak, and we did that. But now you stepping in the ring with a team that's ahead of you in the standings, or even with you, ahead of you in Oklahoma State, and then Kansas on the road. And I know our team doesn't step on that court expecting not to take a punch. They know that these teams are going to throw punches at them. But I want them to develop that okay bet, yeah, punch me. Yeah, you're going to hit me in the jaw, but I'm going to laugh it off and swing right back. Like, that, I think, is the next step for this team that I want to see against this type of competition, is to just, embrace it and be like, yeah, Oklahoma State is going to throw a few haymakers at us on Saturday. They're going to swing, and they're going to hit me right in the jaw. It's going to hurt a little bit. It's going to sting a little bit, but I'm going to get back up, and I'm going to swing right back just as hard. Okay bet, bring it. I want them to develop that okay bet attitude, and y'all can laugh at that, whatever, but I'm serious. I think that's the next step for this team, to be able to turn that corner against this higher competition, is we're able to fight in moments. We've seen it against K State and TCU and in Iowa State, but at some point, we get a little bit tentative, and we're not swinging. You're gonna get punched in the mouth. Y'all know that. I'm not saying they don't know that. They do know that, but I want them to embrace it, and I want them to have that attitude from the jump. I need Danae Fritz to be Danae Fritz in the warm-up line. You know what I mean? We brought Danae Fritz here for games like what we're about to do in this next few games. We know what we need from Jazz and what we need from Bailey. We need her experience in moments like this, and I need her to be locked in the warm-up line. Okay, bet, bring it on. Because I think when Danae barks, like, it allows, like, the rest of the team to bark. You know what I mean? Not literally, people. She's not barking at people. Not like that, but, like that dog mentality. And it allows Logan to do that off the bench. It allows Jalen to do that, who has that in her. Adley has that in her. It allows all these different players. So I'm looking for players like that to bring it and be who they are for this team. We know Jazz and Bailey have that in them. They have different roles on this team. But I really need Danae to be that player. Like, I'm talking, like, in the warm-up lines. Like, it locked in from the jump, all out, all game, being that type of player that's allowing her other teammates to bring that too. And she did that against BYU. I just think we could get more of it, and then that's going to bring it from our other teammates are going to get more of it, and we're going to out-rebound them, and we're going to do all the damn things. So, okay, bet attitude is what I'm looking for this team on Saturday. That's what I want to see against Oklahoma State, and that's what I want to see on the road at Kansas. And if we can do that, we can win at least one of these games for sure. But my God, we could sweep it. We could sweep it, Tyler. I'm going to leave the scouting to you, though, so let them know who we're playing.
Yeah, I agree. We need to have West Texas tough mentality all week, rest of the season. We need to bring the energy because if I'm going to be quite frank, like, I just don't like Oklahoma State, never have. And when it comes
Me
to
either.
women's basketball, I don't know, women's basketball, I feel like this replaces UT as like one of our biggest rivals because we really do compete with
players to
them.
bring that energy. I need them to the energy that we play with against UT. I need them to transfer that to Oklahoma State. I don't know why. I can't stand them either. I have no idea why. I just
don't know
can't.
why either. Right. I mean, it's just they're just annoying. Like they're
I don't know
copycats.
why.
That's what it
Yeah,
is.
Xerox
They're
U, that's
Xerox
what it is.
U. Yeah. Right. But yeah. So anyway, Oklahoma State, they are cutting themselves a season. I will admit to that. They're 15-3,
They're good.
6-2 in conference. They are really good. They're number 28 in the net, and they are receiving votes in the AP poll. Probably could have stayed, but they lost to Houston. But guess who beat Houston twice by double figures? We did. So there's that. There's that. Just saying. But yeah, game Saturday, 2:00. It's on ESPN Plus. If you can't go there, but if you can go there, then please be there. Oklahoma State, they have a lot and a lot and a lot of scorers. Really great team. So their guard, Staley Hurd, she's a beast. She has 15.5 points per game, about 8 rebounds. Last night, she was a huge factor in them beating number 9 TCU. She is aggressive at the basket. She loves to really set up their offense well for success. She's only a sophomore, but she's really good. So definitely you're going to have to, kind of like when we were locking down on guards against either Florida State or SMU, like I love whenever we can get down on one guard and just like make them struggle. Even Madison Connor a little bit against TCU. Something like that, you're going to have to deal with that with Staley Hurd. Micah Gray, she's another guard, averages 14 points per game. Here's the crazy stat about Oklahoma State. They love to shoot three-pointers. Micah Gray averages 8 3-pointers attempted per game.
Speaking of Madison Connor. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. She 8 game. Now, if we can be doing what we did against Iowa State and BYU, then I think we're good. She only makes about 3 out of those 8, but she's still going to be shooting 8. And that's where Oklahoma State can get lethal because their other guard, Anna Grassi, she also shoots about 6 3-pointers per game. So between both of them, they're already going to average about 14 3-pointers attempted per game, and then they both make around about 4 to 5. So that's when you really have to do the defense that you're doing around the perimeter and make them go inside because ultimately Oklahoma State, the only reason why they got back against TCU was a lot of the 3-point plays, some things with like lack of effort by TCU or lack of depth and things like that. But like I think about Houston, they had 34 points in the fourth quarter and came back and almost beat Houston in that fourth quarter alone. Well, what did that? The 3-point line. We stopped the 3-point line. I think that keeps us in games. If you keep it really close, they can't shoot free throws. I watched it last night. They almost gave the game away to TCU. If they would have drew up a better shot.
Is that a year-long struggle for them, or was that just at the end of that game? Because it was.
No, it's been a year-long struggle because looking at their stats, they really don't make a lot of their free throws. They average really low. I don't really think, though, that there's been a lot of teams that have gotten them necessarily to the line a whole lot. But from the little times that they have, yeah, no, definitely not that. And then lastly, their center, She averages 8 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, and she's 17th in the nation with blocks with 2. She's, I think, 6'7". So Sarah is going to be outsized a bit, but hey, if we can bring the energy, maybe get Kyla in there, may have to do big for big matchup with Maya, whatever it may be, maybe a Chal if she's back. I don't know if she was out the last game. Whatever it is, this center, she doesn't necessarily have the biggest role on the team, but it's good enough to where whenever they're running their offense in a 4 or 5 out, she's always making plays. She's either helping set those high ball screens to keep the lane open. She's down there getting all of her points down low. Whatever it may be, she's a good center. She's a good player, and that's something that I am a little bit worried about, but I feel like that we can kind of lock down on that. But that's why Oklahoma State is such a great team. They like to live and die by the 3-point line, as we said, and whenever they go on defense, they play man, but they kind of like what you were talking about. They will like send their 3 best players on our 3 best players, and they will guard them like on top of them the entire game. But then the other 2 players, they don't really know what they're doing. They kind of look lost. They're like camping out in the paint. Like, so our role in support players, if they're out on the 3-point line, like this happened a lot in whatever highlights I was watching with Oklahoma State. But like, if our role players are out there on the 3-point line and we have the great visionary passes and we can get it to them, Oklahoma State is always like having to run to get to the 3-point line. They're having to sprint to get there to guard our player, and that just leaves them wide open. Jada, Adley, Danae, if you get that ball, please shoot it, because it's going to take them like 3 to 5 business days to get out there to you, because I don't know what they do. But what they do though, but again, like what you were saying though, they like to blitz our guards. So then that's where those front 3, that's how they're so good, because because sometimes your guards, that turns into turnovers, which were turnover prone. But I don't know. I just feel like that this game is definitely one that we can win. I have a lot of hope, but you're just going to have to try to figure out these holes. You're going to have to figure out how to deal with their center, who is large, and all 3 of their guards that are scoring in double figures. And I will make it very clear, they have a lot of depth. They also have 3 other players, it's like Macy Hard, Alexia Smith, and Jada Wooten. They average 6 to 8 points per game. So that their team alone is making around like 50, 60 points just by being on the team roster. So depth is not going to be something that we can be like, well, we have more depth than them. No, like we're about equal in depth. They just have more players that have been able to kind of score and get at that. So if we did what we did against Houston with everyone offensively, we should be good. But that was kind of my takeaways from Oklahoma State.
Crushed it. Yeah, I love that. I think the 3-point line is important in this game on both sides. How we defend it, I like what you're saying. If we're going to have space, how we shoot it is going to be important. I also think transition is going to be important in this game. They really like to push it in transition and beat your defense down the floor. They aren't afraid to take mid-range shots in the transition. They certainly did that against TCU, but they've done it against some other teams. And they'll get a shot up pretty quick if they have it. And if they don't get it, they'll run some sort of secondary transition and get a shot up a couple of passes after that. So you have to really get back, and we press, and so they can, they can take advantage of our press at times. But conversely, they did turn it over a lot against West Virginia, and they came back to beat West Virginia. So if I was our coaches, I'm sure they already have, I would study the hell out of the second half of West Virginia to see what adjustments they made, because they were turning it over quite a bit in the first half, and then they kind of fixed that, and they came back to win that game against West Virginia at home. But they had over 20 turnovers against West Virginia, a team that presses, and they had over 20 turnovers in their loss to Houston, because that's also a high pressure team, at least in the half court. But they kind of figured out the turnovers in the second half. Same thing against TCU. TCU at times can turn people over. It's not a super high turnover team, but they can at times. And they were turning Oklahoma State over in the first half. But once again, they made really good second half adjustments, and I don't think they had a single turnover in the second half or something crazy. But I do think we're a team that can turn people over more than TCU can. So pressure their guards and see where it takes you. That's where I'm at. High pressure. I think this game is going to be won with game plans. Our players have to trust the game plan that our coaches put forth. Words are hard. And they're going to trust theirs. I think both teams have shown to put together good game plans, both coaching staffs. If both teams executed at a high level, that can happen. And then what it's going to come down to is toughness. I said that earlier. Like, I need Danae to be Danae Fritz in this game. I need Logan to be Logan. I need Jalen to bring it. I need Adley to bring it. I need, obviously, Bailey and Jazz to bring it. I need toughness to be there. The whole saying toughest team wins, that's not always true. Sometimes you can win a game with finesse. Sometimes you can.
Mhm.
But in this game, the toughest team is going to win this game. The reason Oklahoma State beat TCU is they were the tougher team. Oklahoma State is a tough-ass team. They just are. They will not quit, similar to BYU. I hope we have them up. I hope we're up 20 against them. I hope that happens, but they don't give a shit. They're going to keep playing. They're going to keep shooting threes. They're going to get tough mid-range shots. They're going to get tough buckets and keep playing defense, and they're going to keep going, right? No matter what it is. We have to match their toughness, if not exceed it. We have to go for every rebound. We have to be the first one on the floor for every ball. We have to be willing to take charges, and we have to dictate the game. We can't wait for the refs to decide how they're going to call it. We can't let Oklahoma State decide how the refs are going to call the game. We have to meet them at the point of attack on every single rebound. We have to get on the floor for every loose ball with them. And if they let us play a physical game, we're ready to play a physical game. If the refs decide they're going to call it tight, we can adjust. Either way, but we don't need to wait to see how it's going to be called, because you need to throw the first punch. We talked about that whole okay bet attitude. Oklahoma State's going to be throwing punches, and you don't want to get caught on your back heels. You want to be throwing punches right back at them, and then let the refs decide how many punches are going to be allowed to be thrown from there. Like, that's where I'm at on this. So that was a great breakdown. Tyler did the X's and O's. I ain't going to go through any more on it because we got Kansas to talk about. But to me, this game, what he talked about, all the different matchups, the different things, assuming both teams execute those at a high level and believe in their game plans and do what they do, it's going to come down to toughness. And this game is a game where the toughest team is going to win. And we're going to have the crowd on our side, and hopefully that helps. But yeah, we can win this game. But we're going to have to play good because they got people. They got dogs everywhere. We're going to need our dogs to be dogs. In the layup line. No, none of this wait until the second half. All of them. Like, I need y'all barking from the morning, time you're eating breakfast. Like, it's go time this week and on. So that's where I'm at with it. So I know we're already an hour into this, so that's Oklahoma State. But be there, be loud for the team. Hopefully they'll get a win. Just compete, show you can do what you've been doing against a team ahead of you in the conference, and then you move on to a team that's kind of really important because you're fighting for that 7th, 8th spot, and realistically, you're fighting for that 7th or 8th spot in the standings at the end of the year. Kansas is one of those teams right now you're fighting for that spot with if you're just projecting, right? And you going on the road would be a chance for a quad 2 dub. You need some resume. That's another thing for the Oklahoma State would be a quad 1 win. You need some resume builders at this point. Both of these could be that. On the road at Kansas, a team we beat last year at home. Similarly, like when you look at metrics, kind of evenly balanced teams. But what do you got on Kansas?
And one more thing to add. We've been on this breaking streaks, thing. We broke Iowa State's 3-point streak. We broke our losing streak. Coach Gerlich has never beaten Oklahoma State in her tenure here, so let's break that streak, right? Let's do that.
They've always been doozies at home. They've been close ones. We had a
They
triple
have,
overtime
very
a couple
close.
of years ago. Last year was
so we need
kind of a slobber knocker game that we
Right.
lost. Speaking of Kyla Freeland, though, Kyla Freeland, go watch your tape against Oklahoma State last year because, my God, that was the last game I think she played the season because she got sick or something after that. But dear Lord, was she an absolute menace against Oklahoma State last year, playing the 5, undersized 5 against their 6'6" big. Sound familiar? She's done it before. A different kind of big, though, but still. If Kyla brings it that way, we need it. She has better people around her this year. She won't have to do it on her own. So, yeah, bring it. Let's go. I can't wait. I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see if they can do it. I'm excited to see if they can take that step. They've taken some steps forward, and Saturday's going to be a big one. But also, Kansas next Wednesday at 6:30.
Yes. Very big game. So Kansas, they are kind of struggling this year. They actually started off the season pretty strong, but now they're 12-7, 2-6 in conference. They've lost a lot of games that they're supposed to win, and vice versa. They're 81 in the net. They're not ranked, obviously. They are very evenly matched against us. And every time that I was watching all of Kansas's film, like, they look really similar to us. They're almost like a clone of us. Their leader is Samaya Nichols with 21 points per game. She averages about 5 assists per game, and she's the only one that I guess passes the ball because everyone else is like 0.6 assists per game. So if someone's passing, it's Samaya Nichols to get points on the board.
She dominates the ball
and
for them.
Yes. And then Elle Evans, she is another guard that's really good for Kansas. She helps support Samaya at times. She has 14 points per game. She's the 3-point shooter, the lethal 3-point shooter that every team has. She shoots about 6 threes per game, and she makes about 2 of them. So again, going to have to lock down on that. They're not really a big 3-point shooting team though. So again, if we can just lock down on her and the rest of the team as well. But I think that that's something that we could definitely get advantage in, because Kansas has tried at times to get a lot of 3-pointers up and try to get back in games like Baylor and such of that, but then it didn't go well for them and they just turned into bricks, and then the other team went on big runs. So that's kind of how you have to stop them. And then Reagan Williams, she's only a freshman. She's a forward, same height as Sarah Sonogo. That's going to be a great matchup. I'm actually really excited for it. Reagan, she has 8 points per game, 5 rebounds per game. She does have 3.5, 4 fouls per game. You get her fouled out, then Kansas doesn't know what they're doing, because their other big is all right. She's really good, but not as great as Reagan. So that's kind of something that we just need to kind of watch for. Hopefully the refs aren't going to be like, calling like everything on Sarah, and then we're having to deal with that issue. But luckily, if that does happen, Kyla can easily get right on her. But it's going to be a great matchup. She's really good, just a freshman, but she has fouling issues, but we'll see how we handle that. Their offense, they like to run a high post screen or even a high ball screen at times. They kind of want to do what we do on offense at times. They're kind of really confusing. If you watch it, they'll try to just do whatever they can to win games at this point. They will sometimes run a 4-out at times, but they really do like to drive. Samaya Nichols is one hell of a player. She's going to do anything it takes to lead her team and carry that team on her back. So that's definitely something we have to watch out for. And then their defense, they also can't decide what they're doing on that end. They play some man, they play some zone. They'll alternate it depending on the occasion, but they really let a lot of backdoor stuff happen. So, what we were seeing with Jalen or Bailey to Sarah, whatever happens, keep doing it, because Kansas does not know how to stop that. And then they also have a horrendous 3-point defense. So we're left wide open, have at it, right? They just don't guard the 3-point ball well at all. But that's what I have on Kansas. Should be a good win. Especially if for some reason we can't scrap it out against Oklahoma State. This Kansas game, I would have to say, is must win. You have to win this game. There's really no room or leeway right now for, letting us go 0-2 this week. So if you're gonna do it, bring the intensity against Oklahoma State at least, and then carry that over into Kansas and get the dub.
Nailed it. My 2 big things were can't's a strong word. They don't typically guard the 3 well. That's why they beat Oklahoma State. So it was a little bit surprising that they beat Oklahoma State, right? They lost the other night to Utah, who's one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the country, and they just let their 3-point shoot. I think she had a career game, over 30 points or something. So yeah, it's interesting. They just don't do well with that. They just don't move. We talked about our players move well on the pass. They kind of get caught ball watching from what I've seen, and you're going to have open shooters. They collapse down on your drivers sometimes. So yeah, we're going to need our playmakers to have their heads up and get people open. But yeah, if we're hitting shots, we should have a good chance to beat them. But you're gonna have to stop Samaya Nichols. She's just a great player. She has a little bit of jazz type of a go get a bucket player, but she also, and this is a terrifying stat for me, I'm not gonna lie, this is what terrifies me about her against us, is she leads the conference in free throw attempts. And I'm talking, she nearly doubles up the next person. She has 158 free throw attempts on the season. The next closest is 93. So we're a team that's really, really not great at not sending people to the line. We send people to the line quite a bit. So Logan fouls a lot though. So I don't know. Danae's been better lately at guarding without fouling. So maybe she's going to get that assignment. It's the quickness factor though. It might have to be someone like Logan. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. But the thing with Samaya Nichols is she can create. She'll pass to her teammates. She is kind of the engine of their team. I think her name's Copeland. She can shoot. You named all the people. There's other people that can play off her, but the free throw situation is the area that concerns me. Now they also send people to the line quite a bit, so we should be able to counter that and get to the line ourselves. But 158 free throw attempts is a lot. Playing against us, who's one of the worst teams in the country at allowing people to get to the free throw line, she's going to be just drooling like a steak hanging in front of her. So we got to be better about that. We did a little bit better job against Houston against that the other day. So maybe there's some strides being taken there. But that'll be interesting. how we do that. But you did everything else. The other thing I was going to say is the 3-point line stuff. Kind of similar teams in the way we have been on a roller coaster this year. They've had some really good games, and they've had some other games where they dropped some they probably don't think they should have lost. So I think you can out-tough this team as well. I think you can out-athlete this team at different positions as well. You can definitely beat this team, but they're thinking the same thing when they look at us. They're like, yeah, we can win that game. We can beat that team. They're thinking they got Houston this week and they got Texas Tech. Oh, we're going to go 2-0 this week and get back on track. That's what they're thinking over there in the Kansas camp. No, not going to happen. We need our dogs to go on the road. We need to be road dogs and get a dub, because you win on Saturday. That's awesome. It's just as big of a game, whether you win or lose on Saturday, because you need to go get a road dub to improve your resume, win or lose on Saturday. And if you go 2-0 this week, that's massive. But yeah, you definitely need to find a way to win one of these games. But let's win both of them, because I'm greedy.
Yes, please. I'm greedy too.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we could talk about them forever like we always do. You're welcome, guys. Appreciate y'all that are tuning in, listening to the audio version, or wherever all the different places this is online for y'all to watch. Keep sending in feedback. We'll keep trying to do what y'all like and adding more of the clips and things if we can. But that's them. Watch them. I'm just really intrigued to see. I'm going to learn about this team this week, and I'm ready to learn.
We will.
I'm ready to learn.
Ready to learn
How much exactly they've learned. So I think they've learned a lot. I see a better team, but now they get a chance to go prove it. So excited for them. Let's quickly wrap this up, because again, we're already an hour 20 minutes in. So we're gonna do a rapid recap of what else happened. I'll let you do men's basketball. What went down with the men's basketball world this week?
Men's basketball got 2 huge wins. They dominated Arizona. By the way, shout out to the fans. Stripe-Out Stadium looked amazing. They held Arizona scoreless for the last 5 minutes, and they held Caleb Love to only like 9 points. He was the UNC transfer, really good. Toppin had a double-double, 20 points and 16 rebounds. Amazing player. And Chance McMillan had 14 points.
Love that guy.
Another great dominating win. Arizona was undefeated in the Big 12. And now we gave them their first loss. And then we got a gritty win versus Cincinnati, 81-71. 4 players were in double figures. Toppin had 20. Chance McMillan had 17. Christian Anderson, by the way, big Christian Anderson fan. He is the future of this program. Please throw all the NIL money at him.
Long future. I'm getting worried. It's not a very long future that the NBA.
Come on, Matador Club. Oh,
I'm a little worried the NBA is going to steal him. But we'll see.
We'll enjoy it for now. 18 points. And then Kevin Overton, they called it the Kevin Overton Legacy Game, had 14 points. Great week for men's basketball. They are doing it. I think they're number 10 now in the net. So they're definitely making strides for an NCAA tournament run. And then they have Oklahoma State on Sunday, and then they play TCU on Wednesday. Both teams are horrible. So please go 2-0 again this week.
TCU is at least beaten some people, right? They've had their moments.
Right. They've had their moments, but we should still beat them.
Bad. Yeah. Need to win both these games. This is the end of I don't want to call it an easy stretch, but an easier stretch than they're going to have after the end of this. Like, they have a chance to go on a 5-game winning streak, and they've got 3 of those in a row right now, and these are the last 2 of that 5. When you looked at their schedule, you're like, yeah, they're going to win 5 in a row. Like, it felt like realistic if they could beat Arizona, then they could win 5 in a row. This is kind of the end of that, and then you flip it over, and you got Houston, and you got Baylor, and all these people after that. So they need to take advantage of these 2 at home against teams that you should be able to beat. Learn their lesson against UCF at home. Can't sleep on people. But that's men's basketball. Go do the damn thing. I mean, I love what they're doing. It's just fun to watch them this year. I'm excited to see what they do. Defense gets better every game, and that offense is something else. So I can't wrap my head around it that we have such a good offensive team at Texas Tech. It's wild to me. So that's that. Other things that are happening. We mentioned volleyball has added 5 new players to the team. I'm trying to find, where is that at in here? Do we have them written down so I say their names?
Yes.
Right there. We got
right there.
Tatum Johnson, middle blocker. Taylor Bonob, a middle hitter, I assume. Sierra Grizzle, a defensive specialist / libero. Ashley Bellamy, an outside hitter. Those are all transfers from different universities. We put out stuff on them. A lot of them from power conference teams, and a lot of them with a lot of experience as well. So that should be good. And then they just got flipped I don't know. She at some point in her lifetime she was committed to Cincinnati. I don't know what the story is there on why she decided to flip now, or if it's a roster limit situation and she needed a new home. Who knows nowadays with the new roster limits. Kenna McKenzie, say that 10 times fast, who is from Waco, Midway High School in Waco, an outside hitter, 6'1" player. She announced her commitment after we beat Cincinnati. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but I thought it was funny. So we beat Cincinnati twice on that night. She is a class of 2025, so she'll be a true freshman next year. I don't know how much she will or won't play as a freshman, but they brought in 5 new players. I think they might be done with activity. Their roster should be about full now, but who knows with us staff. They're trying, I appreciate that they're trying. They're trying to turn things around the best they can. So I'm looking forward to them having a more successful season with what they got to work with there. So we'll see. Good stuff happening there on the volleyball side. Track, go listen to Wes Kitley, man. He was fired up after the Corky Classic. That's always the opening meet they have. He said it's the best one they've ever had. That's big words. And I've heard people, Caleb Dean from last year did an interview in the offseason, and he talked about how you think our team was good last year? You wait until you see these dudes on this year's team on the men's side. And they won a freaking indoor national championship last year. So, and then I watched some of that. I looked at the results. They were verging on breaking records. The women's team had picked up a lot of, especially field event people. They picked up, Shelby Frank from the Big Ten, who was, top 10 in the discus and the hammer throw in the Olympic trials. She came down and she was doing the damn thing this weekend. They picked up a pole vaulter from Texas, so now we have, 2 of the top 3 pole vaulters in the country on our team. So I'm interested to see how the women's team does. I don't know how the sprints are going to be because Rosemary graduated, but still have a lot of people. Get out to those meets. They might have another one this weekend or next weekend, but they kind of... Yeah, go ahead.
Tomorrow they play at the Red Raider Invite at 10 a.m. Okay. It's only a one-day event, so y'all be there. Nice. I'll be there. We'll watch them.
Oh, there you go. Perfect. Tyler can report on them next week for us. He can give us some insight. Those are really fun. I had some friends that ran track when I was at Texas Tech, and so I would go. And the indoor facility is even nicer now because it's been all remodeled and redone and all the things. But if you've never been to an indoor track meet, so much fun. There's so much going on at the same time. It is. There's just action everywhere. Just speed demons. Outdoor track is fun too, but this indoor, it's condensed. It's nice and cozy. It's warm. There's usually good crowds. It's a good time. You should go check it out. People breaking records, doing all the things. Future Olympians in there. The coolest thing is during the 60 meters, they have that big padded wall. If you sit, the track, so the indoor track, it's kind of elevated at the ends. Yeah. You can stand behind it and you can see the 60-meter sprinters just come full force at you, and then they all jump above the mat. It's a super cool experience. So that's awesome.
Y'all come and watch if y'all haven't seen it.
Video that for us, and we'll post it on Seeing Scarlet. We'll give them a POV.
Okay. We'll get it.
So, that's what's going on. Obviously, softball's getting close. They announced their uniforms or posted about their uniforms. They look great. Fire uniforms. More polls came out. They're 13-1. They're 10th in the NCAA official one, so we're top 10 to start the season, which will be nice. We've talked about all the different preseason things. I think Kennedy is now preseason All-American. Kennedy and Maya Davis both are preseason Player of the Year candidates, watch list candidates. I mean, we know what that team's going to be. Working on maybe getting an interview with Tara Archibald, the associate head coach, because we've already talked with Jerry Glasgow a couple of times, and so we want to spread the love and get her on the show, but they're busy people, so working on that, and if we can get some players, we will at some point during the season, but it's only a couple of weeks away now, so exactly 2 weeks away, I think, from today. They'll start their thing over in Clearwater, Florida, so go softball.
Yes, very excited for softball. It's going to be a great season. And then they announced that opening classic, it'll be on Game Changer. I'm assuming Game Changer is like a Flow Sport, so you'll have to pay for that. But they'll have some other games on MLB Network, specifically ball versus Kennedy. So y'all tune into that in 2 weeks. It's going to be a very hype season.
Yeah, I hope that other service isn't too expensive. I'll pay. I'll inevitably pay for it, so I'll live tweet it if I have to. Anyway, all right, guys, we better get out of here because it's time. It's late ish. So y'all get to the games this weekend, please. Show up and show out. Would be a monumental, huge, season-changing win for your Lady Raiders if they can get this done on Saturday. No hyperbole. If they can get this done on Saturday, the way it would shift the trajectory of their season. And so we need to help them do that because Oklahoma State's a damn good team. They need all the help they can get. So be there for that. Be there for the men's game on Sunday. All the things. Go to track. Get ready for all the sports. Baseball starting soon, too. That's all I got, Tyler. So, wreck 'em.
Wreck 'em.